let's stop talking about Trump. We talk about him too much. We want to tell people what we're going to do for them. Yeah. Healthcare, environment, those kind of issues. For example, I've seen you on TV a lot in the last couple of years. I know everything you know, or that you tell us, about the Russian situation. I don't have a clue what you think about healthcare. I've never heard it. Yeah. I don't know whether you're for Medicare for all, or improve Obamacare, or get a chicken. I don't know what.
Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin. That's been clear for well over a year now, that they've been pushing this false narrative about the vice president and his son.
Introduction 1. Bill Maher completely blasted Adam Schiff a few days ago for his enormous hypocrisy and the impact it had on the always faltering Democrats. Fasten your seatbelts, for here is part 2, delving further into Trump derangement syndrome and Schiff's double standards. Now is a good time to subscribe if you haven't already, or else you risk missing more mouth-watering political meltdowns like this one from the Office of Legal Opinion.
I was always of the opinion, number one, that the Office of Legal Counsel opinion that you can't indict a sitting president was wrong.
Oh, good.
That, in fact, you can indict a sitting president. I think there are prudential reasons not to try someone who's the President of the United States. But particularly when there's any risk of the statute of limitations running, if the president commits a crime, they should be indicted, and you should stay prosecution. So, but frankly, I had no expectation that that would be the course Mueller would take, even if the evidence supported it, because he is fundamentally conservative, and I don't mean left-right conservative, but he was going to follow the established policy. He was not going to make new ground. So I didn't think it was realistic to expect that he would indict the president. And those that did, I think, were unrealistic in their expectations.
I want you to pay close attention to how, over his first 4 years in office, Adam Schiff essentially sung a sonnet about criticizing President Trump. Now that I think about it, it was more than simply criticism. It was a whole obsession. Schiff is a Democrat. He will undoubtedly support Biden and spit at the mouth if Trump even speaks. But is this really what our nation needs right now? Politicians who regard party loyalty like a religion and won't expose the corruption inside their own ranks. America's political situation is already precarious. More partisan puppets acting as though they are enforcing the law when in reality, they are only stoking conflict is the last thing we need. People like Schiff don't care about accountability outside the party line. All that matters to them is maintaining their party's hold on power. For all they care, the rest of America can go to hell. You're probably wondering where I'm going with this reasonable query at this point. So watch this video, and I'll be back shortly with my opinions.
But this was our big gun. Now it just looks like you're stalking him. I think in the eyes of the people who don't follow it that closely, which is most of the country, here's the thing about Bob Mueller. He's like the last person, maybe the last thing in America that left and right agreed on. Left and right basically agreed. This is a guy of honor. This is an honest guy. This is an honest broker. Whatever he says goes. Americans are not into details. Don't read it to me, Bob. Just give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down. The fact that he was like, if you couldn't impeach before, how are you going to impeach after?
Adam Schiff was very honestly a Trump stalker. So did you see Bill Maher calling him that? Schiff was adamant about impeaching Trump at any costs, even if there was no proof at the time. He was promoting the Russia collusion story as fact. Here's the kicker, though. Even the Department of Justice's special counsel, Robert Mueller, failed to produce any results. No hard proof, no smoking gun. Schiff was unrelenting, obsessed, and strangely ecstatic about overthrowing Trump. Even though there was nothing to support the panic he was stoking on cable television every other night. It didn't matter if the facts didn't add up. When you're so dedicated to a witch hunt, due process becomes simply another annoyance. Schiff wasn't seeking the truth. Instead, he was after headlines and political glory. Maher is gradually revealing Schiff's hypocrisy, but hold on, there's more.
Here's the awful dilemma that we face. If we don't impeach him, that sends a message that this kind of conduct, this obstruction of justice, this kind of willing use of the help of a foreign adversary, all the lies and cover-up, that this is non-impeachable. At the same time, if we do impeach him, and he is acquitted as he would likely be acquitted, then the message is those are not impeachable offenses. At the end of the day, Bill, there's only one way to deal with this problem, whether we impeach him or not, and that is to vote his ass out of office.
Schiff has long pursued that goal, using all measures necessary to remove Trump from office and put his hand-picked political puppet in the White House. Not justice, not truth. It is painfully clear from reading between the lines that Schiff was not motivated by any admirable desire for accountability. Here's the true story. He was intent on returning power to his party. Why was he making predictions before the trial even started if he had good evidence, and his case against Trump was as strong as he consistently claimed? That is hardly the confidence of a guy with facts on his side. That's what a political operator who understands that theater is more important than reality calculates. Instead of playing to the Constitution, Schiff was playing to the cameras. Justice was never the issue for Team Blue. It was all about controlling headlines and earning points. However, this is where Bill Maher throws the gauntlet.
Talking about Trump, we talk about him too much. We want to tell people what we're going to do for them. Healthcare, environment, those kind of issues. For example, I've seen you on TV a lot in the last couple of years. I know everything you know, or that you tell us, about the Russian situation. I don't have a clue what you think about healthcare. I've never heard it. I don't know whether you're for Medicare for all, or improve Obamacare, or get a chicken. I don't know what.
Bill Maher has demonstrated time and time again that he is a master strategist at exposing political hypocrisy with a single, ruthlessly straightforward question. Observe his surgically precise unraveling of Adam Schiff's whole tale. Schiff has made it his life's work to attack Trump for the past 7 years, presenting him as a political villain. His entire brand has been that Trump is a terrifying orange dude. However, Maher breaks through the clutter and poses the query that no Democrat wants to respond to. All right, so let's pretend that Trump is a monster and that we reject him. What precisely is Schiff's message, and what does he believe in except detesting Trump crickets? And why should we vote for the Democratic candidate? The individual is well known for relentlessly criticizing a political adversary rather than for his leadership or ideas. When you take that away, all that's left is a microphone and an empty partisan shell. However, this is far worse. The Democratic Party was taken by surprise by its largest scandal in more over 10 years, the Hunter Biden laptop incident, after they had been preaching nonstop about the moral need of impeaching Trump. Adam Schiff's feigned indignation and moral superiority abruptly disappeared. He sprang to Hunter Biden's defense with full force without asking any questions, instead of demanding transparency. He didn't only sidestep criticism, he launched an assault against everyone who tried to challenge the story, even the laptop repairman who raised the alarm.
John Paul, we know that your life has been turned absolutely upside down because you were accused of spreading Russian disinformation. Tell us about the last few years and what led you to file this lawsuit.
Good morning, Carly. Thanks for having me on the show. Well, the last couple of years have been pretty tough. It was pretty quick out of the gate that I was labeled a hacker. And then after Adam Schiff and 51 intelligence experts decided to pen a letter and tell the rest of the American people I was a Russian asset, things have kind of gone downhill from there.
I must give it to John Paul McIAC there. Even while he was being pulled into the muck, the man maintained a sense of humor. He called Adam Schiff instead of Adam Schiff. And, to be honest, it makes sense since Schiff changed, distorted, and reshaped the facts to suit his political goals rather than merely twisting it. Someone like John Paul, who dared to come out and expose the dubious activities on Hunter Biden's notorious laptop, should be honored, protected, and even rewarded for speaking truth to power in any functional democracy, but not in Schiff's America. Schiff defamed John Paul as a Russian asset on national television rather than looking into the truth. It's a complete character assassination with no proof or reluctance, and since he revealed the incorrect person, the media followed his example like clockwork, making a whistleblower a villain and igniting a national smear campaign.
Well, we know that this whole smear on Joe Biden comes from the Kremlin. That's been clear for well over a year now that they've been pushing this false narrative about the vice president and his son.
Adam Schiff boldly said that the Hunter Biden laptop allegation was just Russian misinformation without providing any supporting proof. No research, no due diligence, blatant finger-pointing masquerading as a national security issue. Schiff blatantly misled the American public on national television, claiming the laptop was a fake. Rudy Giuliani was one of the dishonest players pushing the narrative, which was made up, in an attempt to discredit Joe Biden before of the election. He presented it as a shady tactic straight out of the Kremlin playbook, thinking that Americans would ignore it and reject it as a hoax. But this is the worst part. The laptop was authentic. The emails were authentic. Corruption has an impact on peddling and dubious international transactions. Furthermore, Schiff didn't simply make a mistake. He purposefully misled everyone in order to shield the golden boy of his party. And now we have silence in place of responsibility. Convenient isn't.
I want a group of people who are not ideologically captured by either side. I am tired of the extremes and the extremists who dominate the debate. They have the megaphone and we hear them more, but I don't think they represent what most people in the country talk about. I think almost any issue you could actually come up with a reasonable middle ground.
Like Bill Maher, many of us are tired of politicians like Adam Schiff who are intellectually captivated, ethically ambivalent, and utterly dedicated to their party above the nation. These individuals partisanly frame every issue and are unable to hold their own side accountable. They're prepared to hang Donald Trump at dawn if he even jaywalks. But if Joe Biden's son gets embroiled in a controversy, it's likely Russian misinformation and a conspiracy theory. The level of hypocrisy is astounding. It has nothing to do with honesty, fairness, or truth. Their political tribe must be protected at all costs. These individuals do not work for the government. They are partisan hacks engaged in a risky game, and if we don't watch out, they will bring the entire nation down with them. We must begin exposing them for what they are, calling them out, and preventing them from further dividing and destroying us.
Let's live in the year we're living in. You know, the year 2024 is just very different. Very, like night and day different from 50 years ago, even probably 20 years ago.
Adam Schiff ultimately stands for all that is wrong in contemporary American politics: double standards, hypocrisy, and blind party devotion above principles. He gained notoriety for years by relentlessly criticizing Trump, spreading unsupported stories, and dismissing valid worries like the Hunter Biden laptop incident as Russian misinformation. He didn't change his mind when faced with the reality. Instead, he doubled down, and regrettably, he's not alone. He and other politicians on both sides have transformed politics into a team sport in which defending the party comes before defending the nation, and winning is more important than being honest. As Bill Maher put it, Americans want leaders with principles, not career opportunists who play both sides. It's time we quit putting up with the pretense and start expecting better if all you have is fear of the other side. Because if we continue to follow Schiff and those like him, we will continue to go in the direction of catastrophe. And that concludes the video for today. For more videos like this, please press the like button and subscribe to the channel if you liked it. We appreciate your time and hope to see you at the next one.